I believe, at some point, boots on the ground, right? And it's just a matter of timing now. Lots of military transports have been, for the last several days, moving into the Middle East. Probably bombs and missiles and so forth are on those, and very possibly there's lots of military troops that are on those transport planes as well, going to get in position. So I don't think they're going to be like, I don't think it's going to happen Monday or next week. We still have a Marine Expeditionary Force that's moving into the area. It should be there sometime by the end of the week, or maybe early part of next week. I don't know. It's going to be a matter of time. Now, like I said yesterday in my show, who's the only other person in history that has defeated Iran? And so only one in history. That was Alexander the Great. Now, how did he defeat them? He had superior military prowess that was basically much better than the Persians at the time, although the Persians, had massive armies and so forth. They controlled vast swaths of land. They outnumbered the Greeks on a massive scale. Right now, I think Iran has an army of IDF, not IDF, but IRGC of 1.5 million. And those are just some accounts that I've heard. So I don't think the U.S. has 1 million. I don't know. Maybe we do. But so, it seems to be no odds are against us. But the other thing that, and probably another major factor, the reason why Alexander the Great was successful is because the people of Persia at the time did not like their ruling class, right? Sound familiar? All right, so everything is lining up for this to be the second time in history that Persia is basically defeated their army, right? So we'll see. We'll see. I think there's no other way around it. In fact, I think we're going into a global war against the deep state, right? And as I learned today, the Pilgrim Society. So the Pilgrim, of course, we had the Pilgrims come to America. They were good, and they did good things. We've talked about them, and they connected with the Indians and had a good old time, Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. But the English wanted to continue to rule America, and have, for the most part, done so to a great extent. Like our military is basically controlled by City of London. Banking system is controlled by the City of London. The media is controlled by City of London. And who is in the Pilgrim Society? Tucker Carlson, and his father was in the Pilgrim Society as well. I'm going to show you a lot of people that are in Pilgrim Society. The Pilgrim Society, basically, which is based in City of London, England, has been controlling a lot of the world for a long time. They control China, they control Iran, they control a lot, guys. All right, so ultimately, that has to be taken down. So that's why I say there will be a global war, right? Because that has to be taken down. City of London has to be taken down. And I don't know how it gets taken down. I don't know if Russia takes it down, right? That if we being the United States aligns with Russia, defeats the Chinese, because we're basically butting heads against the Chinese, because the Chinese are trying to get oil through the Middle East, and it's not working out so good for them, because President Trump today said we're basically shutting down the everything. No, if we're not going to have a deal with Iran, then nobody is going through the Strait of Hormuz, right? So who is he targeting? He's targeting probably the only ships that have been able to get through and that's Chinese flagged ships that had paid, so they say, $1 million. But we know that China has given the Iranians upwards of, I think last I heard was 300 or 450,000 missile systems and drones. It's like, how much does America have? Like 7,000. All right, so it's kind of lopsided there. All right, but again, just like with Alexander the Great, they were more advanced thanks to his father, Philip III. They were the most advanced military in the world at the time. And they had all of the Greeks, which is very rare, combine their armies. Of course, Alexander the Great defeated all of them, so they had to join him. And then he went over and defeated everybody. He defeated everybody. So until they poisoned him in Baghdad, right? Which is interesting because it gets to the point where did the pilgrim stuff come from? It came from Babylon, right? Not far from Baghdad, Iraq. So Babylon, I went to Babylon when I was in that area around 2003, 2004-ish, when I was contract security to protect diplomats and so forth. So I got to travel to Babylon. And of course, not of course, but if you did not know it, Saddam Hussein believed he was the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar II, who, after he defeated Cyrus the Great's army on the walls, didn't really defeat them, but they tried to breach the walls, 85 foot thick walls, and they weren't successful. So they were partying, and that's like this scroll started right on the wall. The writings on the wall. So he called on Daniel, the prophet, Israel, the Jewish prophet, to come in and decipher it because none of his guys could do it. So basically, paraphrasing, Daniel said, "You will be destroyed." And they all laughed about that and thought that was really funny. But while that was happening, Cyrus the Great had diverted the Euphrates River so that he could go under the wall. Because the Euphrates River, they had like this gate that went deep down into the Euphrates River, so no one could go past those 85 foot or 85 thick walls and the big iron gates that were in the Euphrates. So Cyrus the Great basically diverted the flow of the Euphrates, went under the gated wall, and defeated Babylon. And of course, gave the Jews back and helped them fund the second temple, right? The Solomon's temple. So it had been destroyed by the Babylonians, and the Jews were enslaved. Now this moves into the next phase, where the Silk Road basically was run by because Nebuchadnezzar had he basically made people pay for money, right? So and that was against the laws of Judaism, and you couldn't, charge for it was usury, so you couldn't charge for money. But Nebuchadnezzar did, and they did it for like 70 years, and then along the Silk Road, they had lots of people that were, making sure they got their fair share. Taxation, the bankers made sure the bankers got money, and then there was a usury fee for borrowing money, which basically enslaved people, right? And it was never supposed to be that way. That was all the way back to Moses' time and so forth in the Bible. It was like a no-no, right? It was like demonic, Luciferian to, charge usury fees. Of course, that's what the banksters have done here in the United States, and we see how they went to England, right? From France to England, That City of London started doing the usury fee, and that's what we have now. Federal Reserve, part of the Pilgrim Society, and of course, all the banksters that are part of the Federal Reserve, probably all probably Pilgrim Society guys. So we'll talk about some of this, and like the blue shirt, FO, you Pilgrim Society people, right? So that's where we are. So Pilgrim Society is basically deep state. That is the deep state. And we're going to talk a little bit more detail about that. But that's basically give you an idea where this conversation is going. And at the end, I'll talk about Peter Ticklin, new Attorney General. Peter Ticklin, like I talked about yesterday, went to high school with Trump and went into that military academy and was like his sergeant of arms. And Trump was like the company commander. And so they worked together for a long time. So I'll talk about how Peter Ticklin plans to basically take down the deep state as Attorney General. So, and he's got everything outlined. So we'll talk about that. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to have him on a show on Wednesday. David Clements is coming on tomorrow. So we got a heck of a lineup coming up for you guys. So you want to stay tuned. All right, so let's look at what's going on. The ceasefire is about ready to be over. We'll see how that's going to work out. But Trump, U.S. will blockade ships entering or leaving Strait of Hormuz.
On his social media platform early Sunday that the U.S. Navy will begin the process of blockading all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. That threat coming after a U.S. delegation led by Vice President J.D. Vance, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, failed to reach an agreement with the Iranians to end the war during trilateral meetings in Islamabad.
The simple fact is that we need to see an affirmative commitment that they will not seek a nuclear weapon, and they will not seek the tools that would enable them to quickly achieve a nuclear weapon.
Iran's lead negotiator blaming the failure of the talks on the U.S., saying the U.S. side failed to win Tehran's trust during the negotiations. The White House is demanding Iran turn over its stockpile of enriched uranium, end its ballistic missile program, and its support for terror groups, as well as threats to stop the free passage of ships in the critical Strait of Hormuz, where 1/5 of the global oil supply flows. The strait's closure has been impacting gas prices here at home. The gas index showing a 21% increase last month, the largest one-month jump since records began in 1967. In an interview with Fox News, the president was asked if he thinks gas prices will be lower by the midterms in November.
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be or the same, or maybe a little bit higher, but it should be around the same. I think this won't be that much longer.
Meanwhile, despite no deal between the two sides, the president saying negotiations got friendly towards the end.
We got just about every point we needed, except for the fact that they refused to give up their nuclear ambition. And that's the only point, frankly, to me, that was the most important point by far.
Pakistani officials saying Sunday they hope to continue facilitating dialogue between the two sides. Marcus Moore.
All right. So they're going to continue to talk. All right. Is that going to be like the U.S. is just going to continue to build up arms and personnel for the coming strike? Maybe. So it will be very interesting, how this goes. Now, I can tell you right now, the markets do not like this. All right. So all the upside that you saw last week is going to go bye-bye. And you guys know what I say. If oil goes up, stocks go down. All right. So oil is up big pre-market. All right. Futures are showing a massive spike right now in oil. Will President Trump be able to talk it down? Will he have something to say that brings the price down? Or will it be, okay, I'm done talking. It's time to kick some ass. All right. So we'll see. As you see there, that's a heck of a spike up. And right now it's up almost $10. It's up well over $100 again a barrel, 105 right now. Same thing with UK oil, up $9.06 also. so up over $100 a barrel. The precious metals don't like that, right? At some point, like I said, precious metals turn around and they blast higher, right? But right now, people are going to be selling. The only thing that's going to help them stay solvent, and that's precious metals, because that's real money. And you're seeing also the dollar index is spiking a little bit there. That puts pressure on precious metals as well. Crypto does not like this either. It's down significantly. So we'll see what's going to happen. The market futures are down bigly, right? And let's look at that. So right now they've been just like plunging. I looked at them a little bit earlier, and they're down a little bit, quite a bit more than when I looked earlier. All right. So right now, futures for the market are down, as you see here. Over 1%, 1.11% for the Dow, and NASDAQ down 1.33, and S&P's down 1.15. All right, silver and gold down, crude oil up massively, right? And crypto, like I said, not liking it at all, right? So it's down. XRP is getting hammered. Everything's getting hammered crypto-wise, right? So we'll see, probably, unless President Trump comes out and does the smooth talker that he is, turns things around, we're going to see a massive plunge in the stock market tomorrow. All right, so what is this going to lead to? Regardless of whether they turn the spigots back on tomorrow, the energy crunch is worse, like that one guy said. It's worse than it's ever been. Worse than it's ever been, going all the way back to the 1960s. So those of you that lived through or read about the 70s, I lived through it, where oil prices skyrocketed and stayed up for a long time. We had stagflation, stock market went down, stayed down for years. And during that time frame, it was like hardly any jobs were available for a young man like myself, 18-year-old. I was like, well, I always dreamed about going to the military, being a Navy SEAL. So here we go. So probably a good thing, because it turned out pretty good for me. Right. So what's going to happen to Europe? In America, not so much, because we produce more than we need as far as oil now. Even though Biden tried to destroy our oil industry, it didn't work out. Right. So Trump came back and it drill, baby, drill. And I think at some point we'll get together with those guys up in Canada that have all those oil reserves that Ottawa seems to be stealing from them and not giving it back to the people that, they're the ones that have it. It's their province. So I think there's going to be something worked out with them. We'll see how that works out. So Edmonton, Alberta. So looks like you guys are going to be in the groove again, but we'll see. It's tough out there right now as far as like the deep state. They're putting a lot of pressure on. So there's going to be some problems. It's snowing over there. Yes, your astute observation skills, right? So we got several feet, as you guys can see behind me. It is still snowing. So yes, still snowing in almost mid-spring. So we needed it, so it's good. Looks like build a snowman time. Yeah, so I played in the snow a lot. I'm just going to let it sit there and build up. It's not going to be that much. It'll melt in a few days. No biggie. All right. So what else? We have Monkey Works. So Monkey Works, as you guys, if you've watched him at all, if you're not, then he gives really good insights as far as, what's going on in the world. But first, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's listen to Survival Lily, right? Survival Lily. Our Survival Lily brings up some good stuff. She lets us know what's going on in Europe. She cuts through the BS, and this is what's going on.
Again from Europe, and it doesn't look that great actually. Beyond what we can imagine, Europe's coming energy crunch. With the war in Iran threatening to choke off energy flows for the foreseeable future, Europe is facing a supply shock that promises to cripple manufacturing, ground airlines, hike up the price of food, spike borrowing costs, and send inflation spiraling back to crisis levels. If the war drags on, it will place a burden on the European economy as heavy as we've recently experienced during the COVID pandemic or at the start of the Ukraine war. This conflict could last years, says Christine Lagarde, the president of the European Central Bank, and warned in a recent interview that long-term effects are probably beyond what we can imagine at the moment. With almost all global suppliers at maximum capacity, European leaders are beginning to realize that the LNG supplies that they were counting on are not coming here as expected. It's not like we have a buffer. It's not like we have some security here. Europe will start to feel the pain this coming month, or possibly even in a few weeks. While energy prices, oil and gas could still stay high in Europe even if the war in Iran ends, Europe may not yet breathe a sigh of relief due to long-lasting impact on energy supplies on which the bloc heavily relies. Even if peace is made tomorrow, still we will not go back to normal in the foreseeable future. Rising gas prices impact British and European energy bills via both the direct cost of gas and the increased cost to generate electricity through gas-fired power plants. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that actually about 30% of electricity in Germany, I believe, or in Austria, is coming from gas-fired power plants. So if the natural gas price is going up, the electricity price is going up as well. Europe begins energy rationing as the crisis moves into daily life. The European Union has begun urging citizens to work from home, drive less, reduce
to work from home. We're moving into the energy lockdowns, guys. It's coming.
Speed limits and cut overall energy consumption as part of an emergency response to the shock created in the Iran war. The language coming out of officials make it clear that this is not just temporary. European authorities are warning of a very serious situation with no immediate end in sight. Yeah, some people would also call it an energy lockdown. This will not...
Yes, an energy lockdown. It is coming. All right, so it's coming. Right? There's no way that we can get around that. They have planned this. Trump stepped in early to try and get control of it. That's my thoughts on it. So now let's look at some other things that are pretty much out there. That's very concerning. All right, so you guys know that Orban in Hungary, he was basically the stopgap for the European Union from pushing an extremism. He lost today. So this is a very, very bad sign for Europe because they're going to push a war with Russia, guys. When everything fails, they take you to war. They take you to war, right? Orban concedes. It was absolute landslide, historic Hungarian landslide. Now, did they come in and manipulate this? I believe they did. Orban was probably one of the last hopes for Europe to actually, survive, and it's gone now. So in a stunning collapse that ends 16 years of uninterrupted rule, Hungarian Prime Minister Orban conceded defeat in Sunday's parliamentary elections. So it was a massive defeat. So let's Looks like they got 128 seats of the 199 seat National Assembly. So did the people really hate Orban that much, right? Or something else? The concession delivered as vote tallies continue to roll in. Did they have mail-in voting? With record 77.8% turnout, marks the first time in the post-communist era that Orban's Fidesz has lost control of parliament. It validates the dire warning Orban himself issued just days ago in his final campaign rally. We could now lose everything. So to Peter Magyar, the 43-year-old former Fidesz insider who rocked Tisza from fringe movement to projected governing force in under 2 years, hailed the movement as a turning point for Hungary. Yes, turning point probably for hell, right? So the result upends the European political landscape. Brussels truce, frozen European Union funds. So they were trying to put pressure on Orban. He wasn't having it. So now they're going to get 20 billion that they froze. That was Hungary's money. So they were. That's why I'm led to believe that they came in and hijacked this election. Hungary's systematic vetoes on Ukraine aid, migration policy, and rule of law mechanisms are likely to end. So migration policy. So now Hungary's going to get flooded with migrants again. Rule of law mechanisms likely to end. Orban's pro-peace, Russia-friendly stance, including delays on sanctions and energy deals, will almost certainly be reversed. Populist right in free fall, this defeat delivers a body blow to Europe's nationalist movements. Marine Le Pen, Matteo Salvini, and Germany's AfD lose their strongest Central European anchor. Donald Trump's recent endorsement of Orban as a strong leader and J.D. Vance's pre-election Budapest visit now looked like backing the wrong horse. Well, they were backing the right horse, but the wrong horse is in there, in my opinion. Markets react, so they like it. All right, so this is a body blow for Europe, guys. And it's basically they're going to descend into extreme control by the deep state, right? So the deep state obviously came in and stole our election, and we have to be be very, very aware that they could possibly, hijack the midterms as well, right? So lots of things are going to start to transpire very quickly. There's going to be victories, and then, like we just saw there, very significant defeats, right? So what's going on in the Middle East? We're moving lots of equipment over there. So we got Monkey Works, all right? I don't know what happened to Monkey Works here. He's got the Mod Squad look going on. You guys remember the Mod Squad back in the late 60s and early 70s? It was a great show. I was sad when it went away. But that was the same time frame where they had Dark Shadows, Barnabas Collins, back when we had the the vampire guy. So that was back when we had soap operas that were very popular. Now you got anytime you want to watch that stuff, you have access. So soap operas are no longer. Now we got those little mini series that are all over the place now. They're pretty cool. All right, so this is what's going on, guys. We're moving a lot of stuff over to the Middle East.
Let me show you something, though. I'm going to take you over here to the reach traffic, and I want you to see the last 4 days. Now, I will tell you the 4 days before that was just as intense. Okay, but notice right here, that's Fort Hood. That tells me that they are grabbing the airborne guys. Right, they're flying them up here to Dover, then they're getting on flights and they're flying across. Notice the consolidation into the port area. That tells me too that they're bringing more equipment into the ports. And then you'll see just a huge spaghetti chain going right into Ramstein and then down into the Middle East. And of course, it doesn't show you, I'm not showing you where they're going in the Middle East. I'm just pointing out the fact that they're headed to the Middle East. Now, this one I thought was interesting. So, but I got to move this around, and I do apologize for that, folks. But this right here, these are your Camber flights, U.S. Transportation Command. The interesting thing, the last time we checked in, there was a bunch going into the Middle East. Now I see them all headed into Europe, but you'll notice that they're all kind of consolidating out of the United States. A lot of stuff coming out of Biggs, which is, that's going to be your RDs, missile defense guys. There's stuff coming out of Fort Hood, and then you see them a fair amount going across the drink. So what that tells me, just based on that, is we are backfilling into slots in Europe. Let me show you something, though. I'm going to take you over here.
So backfilling slots into Europe so that those guys can go down into the Middle East, right? So you have, from Fort Hood, you have, the paratroopers are basically heading over on a massive level, looks like. Massive numbers of flights have been going over for the last 4 days, right? So this is a buildup. And I've been calling this for a while because I've worked in the Middle East for decades, and I know these savages, like I call them, right? Now, the good thing, like I said, most of Iran is very good people like you and I, all right? Whether they're Muslim, Christian, it doesn't matter, but the sect does matter. So I've told you the Shiite are the ones that they're violent, and they lie, and they steal, and they kill. So they're perfect deep state puppets, right? So these are the ones we have to look after and look out for. They're the ones that are, causing the problems. Once their funding is slashed, stopped, and the ones that are in charge there in Iran, which they will go bye-bye, all right? The people just need a little bit of help. I think what's going to happen is the paratroopers probably will come into different provinces. I think there's like 27, maybe a lot more. But the ones that are pro, taking down their leadership, kind of like with Alexander the Great. This was what happened with him. He came in and once he defeated the armies, it was victory, right? Like I've seen in a lot of places when U.S. military, when I was involved with U.S. military in Panama, for one example, we were in the streets of, after we defeated Noriega's troops, they were not elected either. And the people came out and cheered us on the streets. It was like a victory parade, like something out of Europe. It was pretty cool. So we'll see that. And as we come in with our equipment and with our paratroopers, or however they get served, Marines, whatever, they will come into these provinces where the people are ready to revolt. They just need a little help, right? So I think we'll see dominoes throughout Persia, because it's got to go back to Persia. It's got to go back to Persia, right? This Iran bullshit, it's got to go bye-bye, right? So the people of Persia will be back. It'll be beautiful. I don't know who's going to lead them. I thought it might be the former Shah's son, but that remains to be seen. It's up to the people, and we shouldn't pick who's going to be the leader. No puppets. No puppets on our side, right? The only thing we need to see is someone that's just not going to do evil, like the current Shiite, control system. All right. So now, weaponry, U.S. weaponry, is on another level. Now, you guys that may have watched my last two shows, where I was like kind of hinting, and then I was a little bit more forceful yesterday. you need to wake the hell up and realize that President Trump is bringing back the good side of, the space race and space, going back to the moon. And eventually he even says we're going to Mars. President Trump said that, right? So I think we need President Trump for another 4 years. What do you guys think? Right? Now there's a movement of people that are ready to throw down a lot of money and make sure that laws or craziness gets changed and allows him to do another 4 years. He's probably going to need another 4 years to defeat the deep state finally. So that's what I'm starting to think is going to happen. All right, so we'll see. We'll see if he wants to do that. I mean, he's getting up in age. He's 79, and Peter Ticklin, who's I hope after you listen to what I'm going to talk about as far as his points of why he wants to be Attorney General, his old buddy from high school and the military academy. I think that he would have a major impact. But again, you need time to go in and change all this stuff. Now, when we have Professor Clements on tomorrow, he will talk about how we move towards military tribunals, right? I heard him give a presentation, at the bond gate that I went to, and we'll talk about how you guys can come to the next, show, which is the fraud gate, which basically goes into the election and all the different things that are a problem right now. Our taxes and everything is fraud beyond belief, right? Property taxes, everything, complete fraud, needs to be replaced, needs to be taken away, right? So I think we're moving that direction. All right, so weaponry. So weaponry is decided for the most part by the Pilgrim Society, the deep state, right? And our City of London. Now, you've heard Juan O'Savin come on and say it's all about the City of London. We're in the Second Revolutionary War. Kind of never ended, guys, right? War of 1812, and they're constantly coming in and infiltrating. One of those was Rothschild's central banking, Federal Reserve. And then we had, we had Civil War, all these different things. This is all part of Pilgrim Society, and it's like a poke in our eye because the Pilgrims were great, but they made the Pilgrim Society, which is absolute opposite, right? So just keep that in mind as I talk about the Pilgrim Society, right? So what is the Pilgrim Society saying about our weaponry? Now, I talked about yesterday also in the space and how we're going back to where space is positive this time. Now I see a lot of people seeing all kinds of negative stuff. There's always negative, guys. There's always going to be negative, and until we clean it up, right? Until we clean it up. F around and find out, right? So until we clean it up, there's going to be negative. But when we clean it up, there will be no more. All right. So dimensionally, 5D, we're moving that direction. Golden age, no more wars. All right. But we have to focus on the right things. So they've come in and they've compromised us on a lot of different levels. So the Apollo missions were real. Yes, there were some anomalies and some manipulations are in there. There's manipulations everywhere, right? But for the most part, that was real. The manipulations where they hid, that the moon is hollow and there's beings that are inside the moon. Some, military secret space program guys, right? I remember training there in a secret space program. And on the outside is a created casing, right? And this casing can be organically created. Like it looks like, rock, thick rock, and so forth. But that can be created. And we're going to see some of this right now. This is, I believe, some of the back engineered stuff that I was talking about Bob Lazar yesterday. Bob Lazar, S4 is, the Groom Lake, Area 51. He was part of, for 6 months, he worked on a program where he saw they were back engineering what looked like alien aircraft, right? And it's not unidentified. They know what it is. We should start calling it not UFOs, but IFOs, identified flying objects. We know if they're ours or if they're not, right? It's all BS. It's all part of the conditioning of everyone's mind that we don't know what they are, bullshit, right? And this is part of what when truth comes in, then we can collapse their system of control and manipulation. All right, so let's look at this. We're going to look at, how they plan technologies, where the technologies are at. We are extremely advanced, guys.
Up with ceramics, or it comes up with interesting alloys, which of course is a French word for friends, where two different metals can join together and share properties. That has always been at the cutting edge. You needed to keep these really secret alloys very secret, and for your defense contractors, because you could go higher and faster and hotter.
That's interesting too, because it's a nickel super alloy. We mentioned
right.
Tritonol was actually nickel and titanium.
Right.
And this just happens to be another nickel super alloy. And actually, it freed the U.S. from having to purchase Russian rocket engines, because now it could go inside of the engines. And like Simon mentioned,
now they're talking about 9 unidentified flying object scientists, right? Disappear from secret reverse engineering programs. So this is the deep state activity that's going on. We have good people out there doing good work and working for the good side, and the deep state's coming in and hijacking stuff still.
Matters. Like the hotter you can take, the faster your jet engines can go, the faster your rockets can go.
Rockets. Yeah.
So material science is huge, in warfare. Look, the F-22, the F-35, just the material that it's made out of, the B-2, the stealth material is super secret. You're not allowed to go up to any of these aircraft. So
if you see that movie or you see some of the stuff that Bob Lazar, I highly recommend S4, the Bob Lazar story, right? You got to watch it so you understand. So it's on Amazon. Buy it, right? So you're going to want to watch it over and over again. So in there, you're going to see this spacecraft that has composites that are phenomenal. And now I've been seeing on some like the B-2 and some of these other stealth aircraft, I'm seeing those composites, right? So they back engineered them. It took them a while, but they back engineered them, I believe, and they're being very, very secret with it.
It's not just the shape of them, it's also the materials are very important. And just think of all the things we make. I mentioned computers, the silicone is extremely important. Lasers, how do you actually make lasers? If you just look at our targeting pods, the glass on the targeting pod is actually a see-through aluminum, essentially. That's a crystal. They actually grow that as a crystal.
They grow that as a crystal, right? So some of these objects in space were grown, right? Like the shell of the moon that's protecting what's inside, right? Because you see the moon is pockmarked with craters from, being hammered, but everybody inside is safe, right? 3i Atlas, another one that I believe is grown, from crystals and so forth. And then they take those craft and they grow the crystal stuff around a craft and then they fly it.
And the turbine blades on the F-22, the reason it's able to go so fast and so high is they actually grow the turbine blades as a crystal,
Right.
And it's able to just take incredible heat. So that's how they're able to produce just better aircraft. We can fly faster, fly higher. We can shoot better lasers. We can see in the dark. We can be stealth. The U.S. does have a huge advantage in technology, and this is all due to our knowledge of reality, right?
Now, when I was in the military as a young Navy SEAL, we were still using all the technologies from World War II and the Vietnam War, very outdated. And then in the early 80s, then everything started to change rapidly. So this is where all of the back-end engineered stuff started to come to us from these UFO, IFO, all right, different projects. And there were little whispers of that. But as time goes on, we're starting to see, all of us are starting to see, this is a reality, right? We do have the capabilities of doing this. Now they're going to start to go into what happened, and this is something that they've had technology for a long time as well. What happened in Venezuela? Why all those guys, just were bleeding from, their orifices and dropped to their knees and were completely useless as fighters.
Comes from material science. Pretty much everything comes from materials in some manner. How you produce your electronics, how you receive your electronics, how you hide all your aircraft. So materials are huge. And like Simon said, that's probably the main reason none of this is allowed out. It's not just for the social ramifications or us learning that the government, could have been lying to us for decades. I think we found that out in many other ways.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to
absolutely.
an advantage, losing your advantage. As soon as your adversaries know about this, now they can reverse engineer it. China is very good at reverse engineering everything we make. As soon as you don't want to show your hand, as soon as you show your hand to China, they're going to copy your hand. So, I think that's very interesting.
And we just got word,
Definitely.
a new report about the type of technology that we're using on the battlefield in Iran. Of course, we saw what happened, what the U.S. was using in Venezuela, but that was really like 30-year-old technology.
Right.
That was finally revealed, and it was revealed from the White House podium that, yes, we have these technologies. But now a new report, I'm just going to show this. This is being reported about what they've been equipping on Black Hawk
But one of the most
helicopters.
dangerous electronic warfare comes from the disc-shaped objects attached to this Black Hawk helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a soft kill microwave technology. That's being fired at, and so basically it's fired at ground troops from a distance, and it basically melts their brain inside of their head. This high-powered microwave devices with this front.
All right. So as you guys can see, the technology is super advanced. In the first, the second Gulf War, where we came in and like 100 hours, we defeated the Iraqi troops and drove them out of Kuwait and drove them through the desert and have them running back to Iraq. And there was a long line. This is when the A-10 Warthog really came into visibility as far as an incredible piece of aircraft. They basically, it was a line of death for the Iraqis as they were trying to escape from Kuwait, and the Warthogs just basically ate them up as they tried to. They were stealing cars from Kuwaitis, probably BMWs and I don't know Lamborghinis, but maybe, and because they're there, I've seen them. Wow. So they Mercedes, whatever they had, they were just stealing the cars and just getting the heck out. And there was it's a long road from Kuwait to Iraq, the first city in Iraq, and that road was just a road of death, right? So now inside of our forum, that's a glutathione. That's a LifeWave glutathione, activates my glutathione, right? So it's good for your health. Good, keeps you healthy, right? So it's they had technology, and it wasn't revealed for a long time, but they had technology. All of the Iraqi troops that were in foxholes and so forth, that they were thinking they were going to have a real hard time, getting them out of those foxholes. They used sound frequencies on those Iraqi troops, and drove them crazy, drove them out of the foxholes, had them surrendering like crazy. So, once you reveal these technologies, like they were saying, then the enemy is going to back engineer it. And so that's one of the reasons why, they've kept the space program and some of these technologies to themselves. In fact, in that movie with Bob Lazar, he said when he first came in, there were some Russians that were there, and they were, working together on some of the technologies. And then they discovered something very valuable, and they sent the Russians out. It's like, time for you guys to go. Right? And they'd obviously discovered something that was that's going to give us an edge. So they sent them packing. Of course, the Russians have edges because they have, back engineered some, UFO type technologies too. Probably some positive, groups are working with them. And this, guys, is why I believe, because the deep state basically was the ones that took down the Russian Tsar. So Lenin was in a gulag, all right, a prison in, Russia, because he was trying to foment a revolution. And so after he was done, they sent him to, Siberia. He was there for a few years, and then he escaped, and he ended up in England, and he was there creating the group that would come in and basically take down the Tsar and turn Russia into, it was horrible for Russia, guys. Russians thought it was the end of the world for them, all right? We're not going to see the end of the world. We're going to see the beginning of a new world. And Russia, I think, is going to help us get there. So the Tsar's family, Lenin and those guys came in and said, look, stop fighting. We don't need to be killing, Russians killing Russians. And we're just going to let you guys, we're going to give you safe passage to Europe, and you guys can live out the rest of your lives. You're just not going to do it here, right? And so they're like, okay. And so they're waiting in the palace. And then, of course, Lenin and his crew came in and shot them all, shot the family, shot the kids. These people are horrible, right? So we cannot deal with them. The only way they understand is the pointy end of a gun, right? And then they'll make a deal. So Iran has been making deals. It's like, but like I said, I told you guys, they're just stalling for time. They're just stalling for time, and we're stalling for time too. So we're, as you guys saw, we're seeing a lot of stuff over there, right? And kind of keeping it quiet, but Mod Squad boy just like gave it up. Funny. Good job, Monkey Works, keeping us informed. But what he said is he doesn't give away too much information. I'm the same way. All right, the Pilgrim Society. All right, let's talk a little bit about it. Now, there is a book I saw Ann Vandersteel with this one gentleman, and the way I found out about it is Dr. Arden contacted us, Tracy, got a message from him because I was talking about the Pilgrim Society, and I was like, what is this Pilgrim Society? I asked, and he heard me ask about that. So he's like, watch this. So thank you, Dr. Arden. So this is Michael T. McKibben. So this woman right here, Lillian Scott Troy, she unmasked the British Pilgrims Society plan to annex America. This is unbelievable, right? Unfriggin' believable. So let me share the screen so you can see this book. But hopefully I can have this gentleman on and we can discuss because it's quite substantial. And you can go see him, like I said, with Ann Vandersteel. She did an interview with him. So unbelievable stuff. And let's see if I can go through this a little bit. So this is the Kindle version. All right, unmasking a sinister plot to steal America's soul. She is probably one of the greatest heroes ever, right? So, and she's, until today, I had no idea. I didn't even know who she was. But I can tell you, this puts together so many pieces of the puzzle, guys. So many pieces of the puzzle. And I'm a historian, dude, right? I love history. I've studied history my whole life. I go deep down the rabbit holes in this stuff, and it's substantial. Now, Lillian's, so this is back in 1912, published expose of their 24-step strategy, later cemented in the congressional record in 1940 by Congressman Dr. Jacob Thorkelson, Montana, unveiled a ruthless plot to erode American independence through media censorship, financial leverage, political alliances, and social engineering. This was back in 1912. They had this 24-step plan, and she revealed it. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? She dubbed the Benedict Arnold Society, including Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, Paul Warburg, Elihu Root, and John D. Rockefeller, as Pilgrims Society traitors to America, like Benedict Arnold was during the Revolution. All right, so this is, I've read through some of this. I've gone down so many rabbit holes with this information, guys. It's absolutely stunning. Stunning, right? So hopefully we can get this gentleman on. So I'd like to ask him lots of questions because I love history. And he is, wow, he blows it up. He's like, everything Ann asked him, he's like, took it down a huge rabbit hole. I'm like, holy smokes. So I'd stop it. I'd listen to it for a couple minutes, and then I'd do like an hour of research. I was like, what? Unbelievable. So it's really incredible. So from her interview of him, she wrote what they went into. His research traces the development of Babylonian-style debt banking, taxation systems, and merchant banking networks through history and into the modern financial centers of power. So the Silk Road, from China all the way up into Europe, it was basically, like I said in the earlier part, it was run by the Khazarians, right? And they had another name for them, and he talks about that. And then they changed their name, and they became the Ashkenazi Jews. And he goes into how they, in their, what do they call it? What do the Jews call their Bible? The first part of it, I can't remember now. But anyway, during the time they were in Babylon, they took on the Babylonian ways. of usury and taxation. And they weren't Jews. A lot of these people that were working on the Silk Road, but everybody was like, they thought the Jews were worthy and good people and so forth. So they're like, oh yeah, we're Jews. But they weren't. And they came from all these different cultures, and they ran the Silk Road, and they basically, were taking money from people, usury and taxation, all kind of crazy stuff. Kind of what Iran's trying to do, right? Same bullshit people, guys. Even though the Muslims, especially the Shiite, they claim they hate Jews. Jews were in Persia for a long time. They got along, and that's one of the reasons why Israel wants to hammer Iran, because they were all buds for a long time, and then the Shia came in and ruined it, right? So that's a little bit of history. Anyway, the Ashkenazi, Jews, we've talked about them, and of course, they made their way to England eventually, and once they got to England, they got into the banking system. And then there was a king that came along, Edward I. He was the first English king to expel the Jews. King Edward I and the expulsion of the Jews, and because they were doing the usury stuff. And he basically kicked them out, said, take what you got on you and get out. We're going to seize everything else. Right? So they were gone for a long time, for a very long time. So he kicked him out in November 1st, 1290. And then it basically, when Oliver Cromwell came back, city of London, he brought the Jews back. Yes, in 1656. So then the Jews came back into the city of London, and now we have this problem throughout the world, guys, right? Now, why did, there's all kinds of stories of why King Edward I kicked the Jews out. They talk about how they were like, taking kids and eating them and drinking their blood, all kind of crazy stuff. Sounds really weird, right? Unless you guys know about, the stuff that these guys do at that level. All right. So now, of course, they're not the regular Jews. So this is where it gets all convoluted. And you have regular Jews, just like you have regular Christians. And then you have the Ashkenazi, who used to be, the Khazarians, and they changed their name, right? So it's like so convoluted that everybody just gets so confused. They're just like, I don't care, So that's where they're at. That's how they've been able to get in and infiltrate and do the crazy stuff they do, right? All right, so now I think that President Trump is acting like he's working with them, right? Because he's got to at this point, and he's using them to basically destroy the deep state, which is, the Shia, right? So I don't know. We'll see. All right, so in this book, they talk about the origins of global merchant banking, like I'm telling you, all the way back to Babylonian times. And then the financial power of the city of London. And financial power of the city of London is controlling the world, pretty much. The Pilgrim Society and transatlantic elite networks. The Balfour Declaration and British Zionism. Now we have Christian Zionism here in America, where Christian groups are really gaga over the Jews. And so it's Christian Zionism is another problem. So they talk about all these things, how banking, intelligence, right? CIA, MI6, and of course, Mossad are all part of the Pilgrim Society. Banking, of course, City of London, and then, of course, the Federal Reserve, all part of, this Pilgrim Society stuff. Deep state. And then media power. As we know, the media is corrupt. And that's one of the things, remember, right from the beginning, Trump went after the media. So he went after the Khazarian Mafia media, right? So, the Pilgrim Society. We'll have to call it that, because that's kind of confusing when you go into the Khazarian Jews, because then they can use that against you. And I've seen, Scott McKay got ate up because he talked about Khazarian Jews one time, and went all the way up to the top of the Pilgrim Society media. All right, and he was supposed to speak at an event at Donald Trump's what was it, in Florida? There's a place he's got there. I can't remember the name of it, but I went there. He's like, Mike, you got to come to one of these events. I was like, nah. He's like, it'll be good. And you're gonna be speaking there? Yeah, I'm speaking there. So I'm like, okay, I'll come because you're there. And so I went there, and Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., basically asked, because Scott was blowing up on the internet because he was talking about Khazarian Jews. He said, could you, not come, because everybody's in an uproar about that. So, like, wow. So then I was committed, and I was like, shit. So I went there, and I just got to see how those people are in that group. But anyway, why the financial system still revolves around debt, war, and control. All right. So it was a very interesting interview. And like I said, he was talking about several different things. And I was like going down so many different rabbit holes, like I just showed you guys, where, they kicked out the Jews, and then they came back, with, William the Conqueror started it, I guess. He came in and, brought them in and started the city of London. That was William the Conqueror, but that was 1066 when they first came in, and then they were basically expelled. Like, it was 1066. It was almost less than 100 years later. Edward I came in and basically said, "No, you guys are out of here. You're bad." Right. So now when they came back, they basically it was King. What was it? What was the king that was beheaded when they came back in? They brought the Jews back in, so they got their revenge. Was it Henry? Was it King Henry? So the Scottish king. Let me pull it up real quick. Last king beheaded in England. Maybe the only one. I don't know. Charles I. All right. So Charles I executed on January 30th, 1649. So, and the people are like, when, they had a civil war, and they're like, these guys that replaced our kings, they're a lot worse. So, there was kind of like a fight. The Scottish came in because Charles I, and then his son, Charles II, came in and just kicked some ass with the Scottish army, and they regained control, and then they got it hijacked again, and so the British monarchy is not so good. All right, we know that. All right, so the Pilgrim Society. Let's look at the Pilgrims. All right, so there was an article that I pulled up. So like I said, I did some research. There are probably some better ones, but I'm just going to display this one. So for whatever reason, it doesn't give me the whole thing. It says, meet British Pilgrim Society president, and then they talk about different people that are part of it. And boom, breaking news, proof. Tucker Carlson is a British Pilgrim Society member with his father since at least 2004. So now we know why he and all these other people that were posing as MAGA, are attacking Trump. So the newly discovered also has, along with it, so Henry Kissinger. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Caspar Weinberger. Okay. Henry Luce III, Paul Volcker, Malcolm Forbes, Walter Cronkite, Alexander Haig, Arthur Schlesinger, George Shultz. So, wow. So here we go. Richard Carlson, Voice of America, CIA, and Tucker Carlson. So they're on the list. All right. They found a secret list. All right. So it all ties together. It all makes sense. You know, the deep state, Pilgrim Society, and how they have influenced the media, the banking system, and the intelligence agencies. Right? It was all part of their gig, all part of what they planned. And another thing they planned way back, and before 1921, when it was revealed, back in the 1800s, late 1800s, they had all these things outlined, what they were going to do to regain control of America. And one of them was bioweapons. Ooh. And where do the bioweapons come from? China. And so who controls China? That's the City of London, right? City of London controls China, guys. All right. Remember how they had for like 99-year lease, what was that little island? And that's right, China. You know what I'm talking about. Why can't I think? I've been to it too. What's the little island that was right off the coast of China that the British had? Holy smokes, I can't believe it. It's Hong Kong. Thank you. Hong Kong. Not Taiwan, no. That's Chinese. Spiritual journey. Thank you very much. All right. So Hong Kong. And I've been to Hong Kong. I got a bunch of stuff there. When I was in the military, I was at underwater demolition team. And so we went to Australia, went up to Malacca, straight to Malacca, and we stopped in Singapore. Oh, beautiful. Everything's beautiful. We went off the coast of Somalia, Marines did landings off the coast of Somalia. Tons of sharks in the water. Oh my God. Wow. And so fortunately, they're like, we're cool with you. You swim pretty good. We like you. Right? So all of us SEALs in the water. We flew in a helicopter after 2 days where we're like in the water almost all, in the night, 2 nights in the water. And then during the day, we're in the water. And then we get in a helicopter and we fly back to the ship, and the water is like filled with huge sharks. I'm like, oh my God. So, fortunately, they're like, I don't know, maybe they're like, we're kindred with us, like SEALs, they don't mess with SEALs. Crazy times. All right. So now Somalia, and did all that and went to Hong Kong. Hong Kong was beautiful. It's like at the time, it was like a shopping mecca. All right. It was amazing. You could shop, you could get anything there for cheap. It was amazing. And then, stupid England, of course, that's a British society group, basically gave it back. And they probably had that all along. And then the people of Hong Kong suffered, right? Because the Chinese communists came in and just like went and just hammered them. Right? So bye-bye freedoms. Wow. So they basically have control of, all of that now. The people don't like them, or do they? I don't know. Right? So maybe we can make a deal with the people. It's like, you want to overthrow your government too? See what we're doing with Iran. You want to do that too? Maybe that's how it goes down, guys. I don't know. So we'll see. All right. So now this woman that basically exposed, she was dealing with, and the reason why it didn't get more traction is because the guy that she was dealing with, he was a very high up, and they called him W.T. Steed at the time, back in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. He was like, he turned so many different things around in British society. He was what journalists should be, right? and he helped get people in power. I try to do all these things too. But he had a lot of influence, right? I don't have as many people influence, I guess. I don't know. But he had a lot of influence, and he was able to turn around a lot of things in British society that were very, very corrupt, right? I could go into it, but it would take too long. I would say, read up on some of this stuff. So he wrote a book, and I got the book, and I've been reading it. So The Truth About Russia. And this is how I found out that basically, because I always kind of suspected, but once I read his information, Russia was basically the peacekeeper at the time, because they were powerful, of Europe. And then Britain didn't like that, right? Because they like war, right? And who do they use for their war making? Who do they used to? That would be the United States, right? Because that's the Pilgrim Society has come in and infiltrated. You saw those names I was naming. Alexander Haig used to be, what was it, 3 or 4 star generals, whatever. And so there's lots of, and of course, Pete Hegseth has been firing, generals left and right all over the place. So the deep state, getting rid of the deep state. And once you get rid of them, unless they go to prison, they're going to get out and they're going to do some bullshit, right? So, and I've been seeing some of these guys. I was like, God, I work with that guy, and I thought he was cool. So, admirals and stuff. And I was like, it's a deep state bastardo. I said, wow. So, they're being exposed. They're being taken down, but it's a process. And we haven't started the military tribunals. And like I said, we'll get some insights on how that progresses when we have Professor David Clements come on tomorrow, right? Hopefully go into that. I think he will. He's an amazing guy. He's one of the most amazing guys I've ever listened to. So I'm so happy that he says he's going to come on. So and it'll be a real treat for all of you guys. You're going to love him if you haven't seen him yet. So incredible stuff that's being revealed, right? There's so much more to come, and I'm looking forward to helping bring this forward. So W.T. Steed, so he was coming over to basically expose the Pilgrim Society with this woman, and what do you think happened? The Titanic sank with him on board. Yeah. And it also sank with all the people that were going to resist the Federal Reserve coming in, right? Which is the Pilgrim Society's, main thing through the Rothschild and so forth. So crazy stuff. Like I said, they'll take one guy. They'll kill thousands to take one guy down. They crash airplanes, crash trains just to get one guy, and they kill dozens, hundreds, right? Thousands just to get one guy, right? But of course, there were several guys they got. So, all right, so Fraud Fighter Summit is coming up. Let me share the screen. I've had this in my description box for a while. You can find it there. It's 15 through 17 June at the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. Bond fraud, government waste and corruption, election fraud, which allows all the other frauds, healthcare scams, and more. As the Trump administration delivers real accountability, we may have, there will be some amazing speakers, but we may have Vice President Vance there, or he may come in on Zoom, or he may, make a statement that will play. So all of us are trying to get President Vance involved in this as well, because it's obviously monumental. Now, this is what's happening with the Fraud Fighter. This is, it's like, I think it was like 350 to sign up for this. Definitely worth it. Now look at the schedule and all the food. I can tell you the Ahern food is phenomenal. All right, so it looks like they're going to get the speakers coming soon as far as the list. And 15 June. So 16:30 dinner. That's 4:30. Dinner buffet set up, and then 1700 meet and greet, Hawaiian fusion buffet dinner. All right, like I said, these guys put on some exceptional food, and then you're going to like network with people and socialize, and this is a lot of fun. You're going to meet some amazing people with this. All right, 16 June, 7:30 breakfast buffet setup. 8 o'clock, full breakfast buffet on the main floor. Everything's great. And then they have an opening with a prayer, pledge of allegiance, and presentation start. And then lunch buffet will be taste of Italy. Presentation resumes after lunch break and for the rest of the day. And then the dinner buffet is set up. So you're going to get fed. And they don't have a great gym there. So there's only like 3, pieces of equipment to like do aerobics on. So if you drive your own car, you rent a car or whatever, there's lots of gyms around Las Vegas, lots of great gyms. So we went and worked out at gym. We'll be working out at the gym. So Taste of the South dinner buffet. Dinner buffet concludes, and then they're working, socializing. And then the same thing the next day on the 17th. Full breakfast buffet, then open prayer and Mexican Fiesta lunch buffet. Presentations resume. And then the main 3-day Fraud Fighter Summit concludes at 4 o'clock. But it goes on a little bit more if you want to stay for some more. So there's a deep dive into tabulator vulnerabilities. This is the voting stuff. Qualitative methods and modeling, best suited for those with prior knowledge of tabulator vulnerabilities, who are comfortable engaging with mathematical concepts such as statistical sampling, anomaly detection, or probabilistic risk assessment. So I will be there for that one. And then there's a dinner buffet set up, Napa Valley Retreat. And then will be the mathematical briefing on manipulation on election tabulators. All right. So that's the schedule for that. It's going to be fantastic. I'm signed up for it. I will be there. Hopefully see a lot of you guys there. Now I'm going to go into who I think our next Attorney General should be. All right. I talked about him last night. So Tracy just told me she's already talking to him. So it looks like he's confirmed. So that's good. So esteemed attorney Peter Ticktin, I've been calling him Ticklin. I guess I was thinking about being tickled or something, but it's Ticktin, throws his hat in the ring to become the next Attorney General of the United States. So it talks about his background. He's got a great background. Of course, they tried to take him down, but this is what I want you guys to see. He talks about major crimes. He says, in any event, the reason that we need me, Peter, to get in there to assume the office is the need to get to the bottom of the insurrection, which is against Donald Trump, possibly even bringing extreme judges, former AUSUs, and what was ASU? Assistant United States Attorneys. And they got a lot of them there in D.C., but they have them all over the country. In fact, they have, let me see, what's the number? 6, as of 2022, and it's been constantly going up. They have 6,300 of these assistant United States attorneys. So they're career civil servant lawyers. Of course, they don't have to go a whole career, but some of them do. In the United States Department of Justice, who serves under the United States Attorney for a federal judicial district. AUSAs represent the U.S. federal government in civil and appellate litigation and in federal criminal prosecutions. So that's what that means, AUSAs. And others to justice and to end the over-policing of businesses and entrepreneurs where minor transgressions have been treated as major crimes. So he's talking about if he's appointed, he's going to put these on a short leash. Election interference. So he goes into detail about how it's been Dominion, foreign and domestic. He names names. He says Eric Comer down to individuals in different states, such as Jenna Griswold, Colorado Secretary of State, who admits wiping hard drives clean and overwriting on them, which is a clear violation of federal law. She did this in 62 counties in Colorado, and no one cares. Even though she pushed to put Tina Peters in prison for doing what she did, and is still pushing for that as she runs for the Attorney General of Colorado. Wow. Criminal wants to go to a higher level. We know that identity of ballot box stuffers, and says we have deep state actors who were involved in planning to break windows and enter the Capitol on J6. They plotted long before the election. We know who they are and have them on videotapes. We need to determine who manipulated the voter rolls. Immediately investigate the manipulation of the elections in the 3 states, North Carolina, Arkansas, and Texas, where the primaries occurred this year. So I've been saying that Texas, absolutely fraud, right? And so they know it. They got the info on it. And looks like if he gets in there, he's going to, start to hammer this guys. Weaponization is not the wrongful pursuit of crimes committed by those protected by fame or politics, but rather the wrongful targeting of those individuals and then looking for a crime, or worse, inventing a crime, as they did with Donald Trump. So they weaponize the justice system and come after innocent people, like the J6ers and Donald Trump. It is a two-edged sword and needs to be cleaned up. And so he talks about, how he's going to get, people in President Trump's circle, go after, the people that went after them. Meanwhile, we have criminals who have committed serious crimes, such as the sale of influence by Hunter Biden, the theft of untold millions by the Clinton Foundation and its owners from Haiti funds alone. So, wow. So this is incredible. The fact that Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, and Letitia James are not charged for their mortgage crimes is disturbing, at least. Sounds like this guy is going to be a good attorney general if he gets in there, guys. Then he says, restart the weaponization department, probably with Ed Martin. Wow. Ed Martin, that guy is a stud, right? He would be amazing. And fund it well. I was at an event where Ed Martin spoke, and afterwards people were like coming up to me thinking I was Ed Martin. It's pretty funny. All right. So clear victims of targeting carefully by dismissing cases and recommending pardons for victims of the following: parents who attended and complained to boards of education, police who were charged with excessive force, if appropriate, cybersecurity participants, doctors who prescribed ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or opposed the COVID vaccination. So the weaponization came after them, and somebody like Ed Martin could come in and he would just clean that shit up, because he was big on the COVID vaccination bullshit too. The upper middle class entrepreneurs who support MAGA. Determine the AUSAs who remain. So it looks like they've been trying to get rid of a lot of them. And the DOJ who pursued cases to put innocent Americans in prison. Ooh, yeah. Remove Assistant Attorney General for Administration Jolene and Laria from being able to starve initiatives such as she did to Ed Martin. Those who committed crimes and seem to be in protected class, including, now look at, he's naming names: Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Fauci, Obama, Swalwell, Soros, Raskin, Thompson, and other members of the J6 committee, Jack Smith, Matthew Graves, Michael Horowitz, Schiff, Letitia James, and more. these investigations should be fair. If there is innocence, that innocence must be acknowledged. But if they are guilty of crimes, which include conspiracies, which, in parentheses, extend the statutes of limitation, so they can still go after them, they must be brought to justice with alacrity, right? I love that word, alacrity. Good lawyer word. All right, January 6 events. Investigate, indict, or file information for those who planned J6 prior to the election. We have videos of planning from the left as early as September 2020. So they're going to go into a lot of that. Determine when did the 274 FBI operatives, when they got assigned to J6, and determine who arranged it and what for what purpose. Determine who participated in the murder of Ashley Babbitt. And then on and on and on. So lots of stuff on J6. Pardons, expand the reviews to review all which were rejected by your administration to see who else requires a pardon. This requires a great number of pardons being granted, as the weaponization under Garland was massive. COVID-19, you guys are going to like this. I read this. I'm like, ooh, yeah, let's get this man in there. Hurry. Determine who conducted criminal activity domestically and internationally as to COVID-19. Who was responsible for creating the virus itself? It looks like Fauci, right, and his military unit. Who did what, including Fauci? Who was responsible for denigrating ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine? For what purpose? What are the actual effects of the COVID-19 vaccination? Was there fraud? Yes. Is anyone criminally responsible for the deaths in nursing homes or otherwise? Wow. Man, it's going to be a lot of people going to jail, guys, if this guy gets in office. God, we got to get him in office. Please, God. Right, so, plan of action. The DOJ and its 40 agencies are most probably too large. Yeah. With the decriminalization of marijuana and other drugs, which could have been as high as 25% of the prosecutions, which are gone, there are simply not enough bank robberies to go around, especially since a lot of banks are closing down, right? About ready to go insolvent, most of them, I think. As such, where some tolerance was accepted for minor transgressions, so it goes on and on. It talks about how they're basically going to, squeeze this department down, guys. They're going to get rid of the fluff. National Institute of Corrections, Bureau of Prisons. There are numerous prisoners who need to be released early. Probably still some people that are, were convicted of marijuana back in the day, which they should be released. All kind of crazy stuff. FBI, ATF, DEA, as with the AUSAs. So be directed to larger criminal activity. So get these people moving in the right direction, such as the investigations needed regarding election fraud. So the ones that are like sitting on their fingers up their butts, their thumbs up their butts, they need to get on this election fraud and the weaponization which has occurred. All right. Implement the Office of Legislative Affairs. Make recommendations to Congress to enhance the administration of justice. This includes seeking legislation with improvements in transparency. All right, so 13 more. 13, much more. So there's this guy's he's going to be amazing if he gets in office. He definitely needs to be in office. So there's your man, Peter Tickton. And like I said, we're going to have him on Wednesday. He's going to go into detail. Hopefully, we'll get him to the other influencers after he does a show with us. I think we get him, Nino and Scott and who knows who else, because Tucker Carlson's is a no-go now, right? And I hope Tucker Carlson's audience comes to us, right? So, and all these other criminals, Alex Jones, all those people that, still have an audience. Of course, they'll probably keep that audience, a lot of those audience, because they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. But at this point, they should be aware that these guys are part of the Pilgrim Society, right? Okay, guys, lots of love. Let me get that out of the way so you can see my face. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, and we'll see you guys next time.